All right, so Xano AI agents are here, and I'm more than happy, so excited for this because I have a software called Quick Responder, and what we do is we connect with local businesses, WhatsApp, Instagram, and Facebook, and we respond to customer queries automatically using AI. And when we do that, we used to use tool calls. So the entire software was built in Xano, and Xano didn't really have an AI agent system, so it didn't have a system to automatically do tool calls and stuff. So I had to do everything manually. So my Xano endpoint kind of looked like this. It's very long since there were no tool calls or anything like that. We had to do everything manually. So it's very, very long. Even at 18.70, that's small because we are using functions in almost every step. So that means literally this endpoint is so big. By the interaction of a AI agent system, Xano will let us simplify this into maybe 10-20 steps maximum, right? And I'm so excited for that. But the purpose of this video is not actually talking about this big ass endpoint. What I really want to show in this video is how you can create an AI agent in Xano and how you can implement tool calls in Xano. So we will take a simple example so you can learn how to implement AI agents in Xano. So that's what we're going to cover in this video. So the very first step to create an AI agent is to go to your instance and go to AI and find agents, right? So here you can click on add agent to start your agent creation process. Now we are going to create an AI agent which will give us information about countries. So I'm going to use an endpoint called REST countries. It's a simple endpoint, free to use. All it does is if we give a name to this endpoint, for example, if we give REST countries name / Germany or US, then it's going to give us as output data like this. So if I send USA here, it's going to give information about United States. So here you can see United States, what are the top level domains there, what is the currency there, I don't know what IDD is, what's the capital of United States, languages spoken, borders, like bordering countries, a bunch of information about that country, right? And you can change this to any other country. So if you Japan, it's going to give information about Japan, right? So my goal in this video is to show you how you can create an AI agent which can access a tool like this and get information from this tool real time. It's called tool call, and reply back to the user, right? So we'll take it step by step. The very first step we are going to do is create a simple AI agent. No tool calls involved. We just want to interact with this AI agent. So that is the first part. Then we will slowly add in the tool call. All right. So to create the AI agent, like I said, go to AI and go to agents, click on add agent. So we are going to call it, country bro. That's our AI agent's name because this bro knows everything about countries. Description is more for you. I normally leave it blank. Let's go to the next one. Agent settings here. Xano gives us some examples on how to use arguments and how to use environment variables. That is very handy. We will be using that in the next few steps. But for now, let's just keep it here and select our model host. So we have 3 companies: Anthropic, Google, Gemini, and OpenAI. Choose any you want. All of them are good and they're getting better every single day. So choose any. I'm going to use Google because it's just cheaper. Max steps, I'm going to leave it as 5. So every LLM, depending on the complexity of the task, it may take multiple steps, especially when you have tools. It will take multiple steps. You are putting a max step number to let this agent know that that's the maximum number of steps an agent can take to give us a response. Now, if what I just said doesn't make sense to you, forget about it. Just leave it at 5. It will just work fine. All right. Next is system prompt, self-explanatory, right? So I'm gonna do a simple system prompt. I'm gonna say you are country bro, you are an expert in countries. Yeah, that's the only system prompt I'm gonna give for this example. And prompt, this will be dynamic in the future, but for now I'm gonna just ask what is the capital of United States. USA. All right. Okay, so that's the prompt. Okay. Then structured outputs, we will talk about this maybe on a different video because this one is a bigger subject, so we'll just leave it unchecked for now. API key, so obviously using an AI LLM in the background is not free, so you have to put in your API key. So depending on what you chose here, that's the API key you have to use. Okay, so I chose Google Gemini, that means I have to put in the Gemini API key. So you can either put your API key directly here, but I don't recommend that. What you should be doing in an ideal scenario is go to your settings, right? Settings, and here there is environment variables. Click on manage and add your API key as an environment variable. So here you can see a Gemini API that is added as an environment variable. So just add it, and then in your agent, remember Xano gives us examples on how you can use variables and environment variables. So here I am going to copy this example because it's very handy. So I'm going to copy this, scroll down, and I'm going to paste it here. So this is how we should call environment variables, env dot variable name. So instead of variable name, we will use the variable we gave here. So I called it Gemini API key with A in uppercase. So we will rename that here and make sure there are no spaces. So env.gemini.api. So that's how we will use the API key. Model, so depending on the service you selected, this will change. I'm going to use 2.5 flash, just work fine. Temperature, leave it blank, but if you know what you're doing, you can increase this, decrease this, depending on your use case, this will change. Leaving it blank will also just work fine. Thinking config, again, leave it blank. If you want to use thinking models, you can set a value here, and yeah, that's another whole topic, so I'm not going to cover that. We are going to leave this blank for this simple example as well. Now, advanced settings. This is where if you want to use different base URL other than the normal one Google is giving. For enterprise clients, Google gives a different endpoint URL, so that's why they provide here. For most of us, that will be blank. All of these will be blank as well, right? Now, request history, I like to enable this because I like to see how many or what all requests are coming in for this agent, at least at the beginning. So I'm going to enable this, set it to 100 statements, and I'm going to save it. All right, so we have our first AI agent, Country Bro. Now, if you want to edit this, you can just go to the three dots at the top right, click on this, go to settings, and change these things anytime you want. Okay. Now, let's run a test for this AI agent here. So the way I like to run tests is I'll normally go to functions and I'll create a test function, right? So I have a test folder where I put all my tests. So this is the test function I use. So I'm just going to use this test function, and there are no inputs, there are no outputs, but that's going to change when we start our test. So I'm going to click on add function, and here we'll go to AI tools and call AI agent. I'm going to select that, and I'm going to select the Country Bro agent we created. So Country Bro arguments, for now we are not passing any arguments, right? So we'll just send blanks. Allow tool execution, I'm going to set it to true. I'm going to save. Let's do a run and run. So the output of this is being returned, right? So, and here you can see the whole output, and this is the result that we got from the agent. So, well, howdy there. The capital of good old USA is Washington, D.C. So this is coming in from the knowledge of the LLM, right? Google knows how or what the capital of United States is, obviously. So that's how this data is coming in. So this is a basic LLM, very simple. You ask a question, it gives us a reply. Nothing fancy here, right? But what if you want to pass in dynamic data, or you want to go to an endpoint where we, just like this endpoint I shared, what if we want to specifically ask, what is the currency symbol, something like that from this endpoint? How can we implement that? How can we implement a tool call? So for that, we have to go to the same place where we created the AI agent. So go to AI and go to tools. All right. So when you go to tools, it looks like it's very similar to functions. You will create a tool call for an AI agent, right? So I'm going to add a new tool call, and I'm going to call it get information about the country, UNTRY. All right, description. Now this description will also be sent to the AI agent, so make sure you put in something that the LLM can easily understand. So I'm going to put something like use this function to get real-time data about a country. All right, I am going to save that. All right, so this looks very similar to a function. In fact, this looks exactly like a function. The only difference is it is called a tool call. Okay, now as the input, we will obviously get a country name, right? Country name, that will be our input, and we need to call this REST API endpoint. So get information about the country, we will do an API request, external API request, and we will put this here. And I don't want information about Germany. I am going to concat, and it will be country name. All right, so if you're new to Xano, this might look a bit new, but we're just basically appending country name to this URL so we can get data about that country name, right? I'm going to click on save. So this is the API request, and we are returning the API request itself. So now if I put country name Australia and run, let's see, that was the request, and this is the result, right? There's one result, and there's all sort of information about Australia. So name common Australia, the official name is Commonwealth of Australia. I didn't know that, to be honest. And then currencies, IDD, the capital Canberra, and all that stuff about Australia, right? Now whatever is set as return will be returned to the agent, right? So we don't really need to return all this stuff. It's basically based. So I only want to return result. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to API, and I am going to only send the result. Now if I click save, oh boy, yeah, I don't really like Mac. Okay, so there you go. So if the LLM sends in a country's name, this is what it gets back, right? It can be JSON, it can be text. You can even include custom instructions if you want, but I'm just going to send back this information to the agent, right? So we are going to publish this. So this is a simple tool, right? Get information about the country. Now I also want to, just for this example, just for showing you guys this endpoint is being called, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this service called webhook.site, which uh, which will help us look for requests that are coming in. So the same time this tool is called, I'm also sending a request to this REST API endpoint. So external, so I can show you that the function was accessed, right? So I'm gonna add in the URL. I'm gonna make it post request, and the parameter will be API1. Set response, and I'm going to set it as API1. Now when you create your endpoint, you don't need this step. All right, I'm just doing this for showing you that this endpoint was accessed. It will make sense when I run the function. Now if I just run this, I got the response here, right? But in webhook.site, I can also see, so I got a ping, it says response, then the whole response is here. Looks like French, but yeah, here you can see the URL, everything, right? So every time this tool call is run, I can see that added in webhook.site. So this is just, for the example. Now we created a tool call, we have an agent. That doesn't mean the agent will know to call this tool. We need to connect these two together. So that's the next step. So let's go back and go to agents. So country bro, here do you see 0 tools? We have to change that. We have to connect a tool. Xano has made it very simple. Go to connect tool and get information about the country. So that's the new tool we created, right? That's it. You just connected that tool. Now remember we asked questions to this agent. Well, actually we are not asking any question. We have set a static question in the agent, right? What is the capital of the USA? So what if we change that question to what are the bordering countries of the USA? So what are the bordering of the USA? All right, I'm going to click on save, and I'm going to run this function which contains this agent. I'm going to click on run. All right, so here it said I cannot provide you with bordering countries of the USA with available tools. I can get general information about a country. I think we have to prompt better, but it might have called the tool. How can we verify? Actually, it did not call the tool. Sorry about that. But let's look at the steps. So the step one, so how many steps were there? There was just one step. And step 1 was initial. It just replied right away. It doesn't know how to do that. So we need to update our system instruction to always call this get information about the country tool. So this is something which you will encounter whenever you are building AI agents. The better the system prompt, the better your AI agent. So I am going to go to settings. Okay. System prompt. So you are country bro, you're an expert in countries. Always use tool. So get information about country tool to get information about the specific country before you reply. All right. So I'm specifically asking, hey, you should use that tool before you send any reply. So I'm going to save it. And yeah, we are going to keep this. What are the bordering countries of the USA? We are going to keep this. And now let's do the test. Hopefully it works. All right. So the result says the USA borders Canada and Mexico. How did it know? Obviously, almost all LLMs know the bordering countries of USA and Mexico. But in this case, the LLM did not use its knowledge. It used a tool call to identify the bordering countries. And here you can see if I click on this, it says 2 steps were used. So steps are 2. So the first step is the initial step. It's doing a tool call. So the tool call was done to get information about the country, and it sent an argument, country name, to the US. And the tool call, which is our function here, right? Where is it? Yeah, this is our function. It returned something like this, that big as, you know, object which contains all the stuff about the US, right? So return that. And you can also see while that was run, the webhook.site also got a ping, right? So if I remove this, run the same, actually, you know what? No, I'll just run the same thing again, and webhook will receive another one, right? Why? Because the tool call was accessed. So I just, you know, add webhook.site just to show you guys that is being accessed. So here again, the USA borders Canada and Mexico. Great. So there were 2 steps. The first step, the initial step, was a tool call, and the next step was a tool result. And with those steps, the LLM was able to tell us the borders of USA and Mexico. Now, what if I want to ask a different question? Instead of borders, then I'll have to again go to our AI agent, edit this prompt, and so instead of asking about bordering countries, you will have to ask another question. We can ask, what is the country of United States? But it is not practical to every time go to this agent and updating that user prompt. Especially user prompt might be dynamic too, right? So that is where the parameters come in. So here, if we want to pass in a property, you have to use this format. So I am going to copy this, and instead of using a static user prompt, again, this can also be applied for system prompt, doesn't really matter. But for this example, I'm only going to use user prompt. So instead of asking a question here, I'm going to keep this dynamic. I'm going to pass in an argument, and the prompt, instead of the static prompt, it will be, let's just call it user question. All right, so that is going to be our argument. Now I'm going to click on save. Now what will happen if I run this now? I don't know, honestly. Probably an error. Canada capital is, yeah, I don't know how it knew I'm asking about capital. There has to be an explanation about that, but let's see. If I run it again, yeah, I don't know why, but we didn't pass that argument. There was no system, there was no user prompt, right? But still somehow it said capital of Canada. I don't know why, but hey, sometimes AI is a mystery, right? I'll show you how to send in that argument now, right? So to send in the argument, just send in a blank object as args, but we are going to use set, and we are going to use that same argument name. So here, remember, if I go here, you can see I am using args.user question as the prompt, right? So I am going to set that user question, and I can set a user question like, you know, what is the currency of India? So that will be my question now. Apply, save. Now if I run, there you go, the currency of India is Indian rupees. So now instead of going to agent to edit the user prompt every time, I can edit it from here. I can also set the question here and map that question to the argument. So instead of asking the question here, I could say, hey, use this input variable. And what would be a good question? So what is the capital of UAE? All right, run. The capital of UAE is Abu Dhabi. Now here you can see the tool call was again accessed. Let's run once more. You can see real time the tool call being accessed. So tool call was accessed, and the REST countries replied back with with some data which the tool used to tell us the capital of UAE is Abu Dhabi. So that is a simple example. I know I took some time to do this because I wanted to make sure this is a beginner level tutorial for anybody who wants to learn about AI agents in Xano. In my next video, I'm going to show you how I build my massive endpoint. I'm not really sure I can show the entire thing, but I'll try my best to show you at least the highlights of how I built or how I condensed that massive endpoint I've got for my Quick Responder software, and I compressed it to using this AI agent. So with creativity, the possibilities are endless. Thank you so much, Team Xano, for bringing this out. This is Abby, and I'll speak to you in a different video.